My family and I come to Stone Harbor, New Jersey Beach for a week every summer, ever since I was a little kid. My grandparents came, and my mom, and my brother and his family. So it's our extended family, and we love it here. It's beautiful. It's just a good time to connect and make sure we spend the time with each other. But every year we're here and we think, man, this would be awesome to have a place here. Now, it's beautiful, but it's also expensive. This would be about as high-end as houses come on the Jersey beach line. I mean, there's other similar beaches probably at this high price point as well. This is an island here. It's a 7-mile long island. Stone Harbor and Avalon, they're connected. Very similar price point. So you can kind of think about them interchangeably. It's southern New Jersey. But today, what we're going to take a look at is, can you buy an investment property here? So could you buy a duplex? Could you buy a condo or even a nice single family home and rent it out on one of these short-term platforms like Airbnb or VRBO? Let's crunch some of the numbers and see what it works at these high-end price points. The average house lot here, or average house, older houses going for almost $2.5 million. And these older houses, they just knock them down and build new. And the prices have really shot up over the last, like everywhere, have really shot up over the last 5 years or 3 years or so. So let's take a look at what they have on the market. Let's see what the rental prices are. Let's see what the sale prices are. And I'll show you some of the amenities that Stone Harbor has to offer along the way. So this is as we're approaching Stone Harbor. Hear my family jamming out. They're excited. It's a Saturday morning before we got there. You'll see this is kind of swampland, bay, back marsh area. The new construction building stuff up. It's getting more grown up every year. This is one of the bridges that we come to and do some crabbing on. Now this is actually approaching the main town. We're heading over the sound and onto the 7-mile island beach area. It's a drawbridge, so boats can come in and out. You see a little bit of extra traffic here because it is a Saturday morning. A lot of the weekly renters are coming and going. You see the iconic water tower here in the background, and then the main drag here is straight ahead. So let's check out some of those houses and see what's up for sale right now. Here's house number 1, about $7 million on the bay. This is luxury living at its finest. This is about the average price point for something with water access on the bay. You're talking $6 to $10 million. If you go beachside on the water, it's even probably double the price. And if you're on a street that is in between the two, you can get away with $4 or $5 million for it. But let's talk about the numbers here. So does it work? Well, if you get a mortgage here, you're going to have a crazy down payment for it'd be about $1.4 million down. Then you're gonna have to have a huge mortgage payment. I took pretty favorable assumptions here that you'd have an interest rate at about 6.8 at 30 years, and you can see the numbers here. What turns out is the expenses are pretty crazy. It's $500 to $600K of operating costs per year when you factor in mortgages. Taxes are actually really low in Stone Harbor in relation to the value of these houses. You have some utilities and other expenses in here. Now, the big question is, will the rentals offset this high operating costs? And quite frankly, the answer is no. Here's some assumptions that I made. 14 summer weeks rented out at $20K per week, and I think that's a little generous. That nets you $280,000. Then you'll rent some out on the spring and fall. All in, you're still having a cash flow loss of $173,000 a year. So on the surface, this seems like a no-brainer. Never in a million years would you ever want to buy a house here, put over $1 million down, and lose $173,000 a year. Well, not so fast. if you come at this from a different approach, it could be favorable. Yes, the cash flow is horrible. You're losing $173,000 a year, but you have a nice mortgage pay down of $70,000 and a 3% appreciation of $210,000 a year. Sure, the mortgage appreciation is an assumption, and you're speculating there, especially with high-end properties, and that can be risky. But what's really happening here is the equity gain is offsetting the cash flow losses by over $100,000. So what this means is if you purchase this property and had the cash flow to cover it, to cover the losses, you would actually be increasing your net worth each year that you continue to own this property. And there will be some really great tax implications and benefits and advantages for the owner of this property as well, because you'd be having a huge loss and a huge write-off every year. So for high earners, like mega high earners, big net worth people, you can buy a property like this, write off all the losses, pay down the mortgage, and over time actually be increasing your net worth. But again, this only works for people that can afford to sink a couple $100,000 of a loss into this property every year. So let's look at some of the other amenities that Stone Harbor has to offer. Here's a nice farmer's market that they have every Sunday morning. All kinds of stands, all kinds of vendors, right under the water tower, actually, right next to town. Here is town. Lots of cool boutique shops, places to buy, different kinds of clothing and trinkets and all kinds of stuff. Super safe place, super clean place. Here's a quick view of my kids in a hole that we just dug for them. And then the last thing here on this clip is down at the end of the 7 Mile Island. This is called The Point. It's completely natural. Lots of birds make their homes down here. You can find all kinds of shells. Let's go over here and see if we can talk to this security guy, see if we can get some of the insider information on this dredging project. See him over there in that old booth. So here's what I found out. Every 3 to 5, maybe if they're lucky, 8 or 9 years, they need to go do some dredging. They suck sand up from 7 miles off the coast and then suck it through these pipes and have it come up onto the beach, and then they spread it all around. And this is just something they have to do because of the erosion that's happening, and then the climate change is also making things worse. This project was somewhere between $10 and $20 million. It took them a couple months to do. But it's one of the real things you need to consider when buying property on the water. What's going to happen to it? What's climate change and the sea levels rising? What will it look like 20 years from now? Let's take a look at another house and see if the numbers can work and what that looks like. So this is a house similar to what my family stayed in this week. It's not a new construction. It's not on the water. It's not on the bay. It's not on the ocean front. It's a good location, nice house, 4 bedrooms, almost 3,000 square feet, but some of the finishes are a little dated. Nothing super luxurious about it. And the price is less than half the price of some of these other high-end luxury houses on the water. So let's see what the numbers look like. All right, so looking at these numbers, the way it all netted out was pretty similar to the first house, just about half of everything. Smaller down payment, smaller mortgage, smaller taxes. The income is interesting because this is a house very similar to what I rented, and this is what we paid. So I think I'm pretty accurate on what the weekly rental will be over the summer. What you end up seeing is a $90K cash flow loss, which is about half of what the other property netted out, which makes sense because it's about half the price. And then what you'll see similarly to the first house is there still will be mortgage pay down and appreciation that exceeds what the losses will be. So over time, you will actually make money and have a higher net worth with this lower priced house. It's just, again, you're going to be losing money each year. Now, for a high earning individual, this could be a great way to reduce your tax basis and increase wealth long term. So in summary, if you're a high earning individual, Stone Harbor might be a good place to invest, but for most of the average people out there, Stone Harbor probably isn't a good place to try to buy a income producing property. We'll leave you with some of the sights and sounds of Stone Harbor as we close things out. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Real Estate Hackers Show. If you've not yet become a member of Real Estate Hackers, you can do that for free at realestatehackers.com. Get access to all the amazing real estate hacker deals from incredible vendors on a ton of content and materials for you, the investor. You can follow Real Estate Hackers on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. If you could give us a 5-star review for the podcast, I would personally really appreciate it. We read every review, and thank you so much for helping us grow this community for you, the real estate investor.